Great. Hi, this is Chuck Boyce with Cibi Creative, and today's topic of Tuesday Pulse is going to be systems before hype. Practical, adaptable, reusable workflows that will help you understand what you need to know before you can automate things in your business. Let's go back here. So what today we're going to walk away with is how to map workflows using reusable prompts, how to build a prompt library. Some of these topics I've talked about in previous sessions, but the idea of documenting your prompts that you can make in a format that can be reused, give you an automation example, come up with some clear next steps of how you can implement these, and always thinking in a systems mindset. So turning workflows into AI-ready assets. This isn't just theory. I'll actually walk through a few different things, identify how you can identify high-value points where it may be a bottleneck, it may be just something that's taking too much time, it may be just something that you gloss over, but we'll talk about how to look at your processes, figure out what can be automated, and then how to automate that. Promises mapping workflows in under 10 minutes, identify where AI can provide value, give you some prompts, and build workflows out of that. So why systems first? This is what most people do. They'll come up with a shiny toy, they'll read some marketing, they'll understand that, hey, this is a really cool thing, but does it fix anything for me? It looks really cool, but without jumping straight to the tool, you have to understand how your business works. Otherwise, you're going to get chaos in and chaos out. You could have really interesting things that you want to automate, but if you don't understand what they are, you may have not understanding every step along the way. You may have bad data. You may have just not really a true understanding of what you want to do before you automate it. And so it's inconsistent, it's frustrating, it's unpredictable. You don't have a return on investment because you don't know what you're measuring. And so systems are what thing you have to approach before you actually try to automate it. I spent many years in corporate America. I've worked with IBM, WebMD, and throughout that journey, I learned that if you do not have a system in place, that things fall apart quickly. Those bigger companies was great, but they also have bureaucracy. And so when I left the corporate world and got into the smaller business world, I saw that a lot of people don't look at systems first. They always try to just struggle to keep going. And so in this idea, what you want to do is to look at any process that you have in your business. And this could be customer intake, it could be customer onboarding, it could be new employee onboarding, it could be whatever component of your business. It should be a system, and you should have steps along the way that you can document in a standard operating procedure. Once you have an SOP in place, then you can figure out what is the trigger of this workflow? How does it start? What kicks it off? Normally, in a lot of situations that I'll go through, it's a form. Somebody fills out a form. Boom, you now have the start of your workflow. Then you have to define what's in the form. What are they going to enter into that system? Once that data's there, what are the next steps that occur? And there could be one, it could be many, but along the way, you're going to have multiple decision points, and you have to evaluate what to do with that data at that point, and then eventually you'll get a desired output. And so these 5 steps are part of every system. No matter what you're doing, you will always have this same process to follow. And once you understand what those steps are, that's where you can apply either automation or AI to improve it or help along with that step. So as I mentioned today, this is one of the most practical scenarios that you could have every business in order to have a business, your whole concept is you have an idea that you want people to trade their money for your idea. And this could be a product, it could be a service, it could be whatever, but you have a unique situation and you're trying to get clients. And so you need to get a client and convert them into a paying customer, hopefully. So it is your main generation of revenue. It has high return on investment. It's something that can be measured, it can be seen immediately, and it can scale. So in this one, the idea is that email follow-up is often a bottleneck, especially in smaller businesses, the coaches, consultants, and people like that. They may have a CRM, and a CRM is a customer relationship management system. And it could be as simple as having a spreadsheet. It could be something more elaborate. And the elaborate CRMs may have a lot of automation already included. But for a lot of smaller businesses, if they're just getting a call from a client or somebody fills out a form or something like that, it's often that you don't get the response right away. So it may be hours or days before you realize somebody's contacting you and you need to respond. And in many situations, the faster you respond, the more likely you are to make a sale or a follow-up to whatever they're contacting you about. Leads can slip through the system. You can have a really good conversation, but you may suddenly forget about them, drops through an email spam filter or something like that, and suddenly you just forget about that client. You may have inconsistent messaging. Each member may write a different email. You may not remember any details about the client, and you don't have a consistent email message response to them. And then there's no measurement about how you can improve things. And so if you map out every step, you can find ways to improve consistency, eliminate the delays, and find ways to measure how you're improving your processes, or if you even need to automate to measure it. So in this demo, this is a typical lead to client workflow. So a good example is that the lead fills out a form. The form could be a Google form. It could be something as simple as a JET form, or just some way that you're going to gather client information. Once they enter that data into your relationship management system, you can understand what they want to do based on the fields that you're gathering from them. The first step is going to be your following up with them. So they sent you a request and now you have to respond back to them. Normally you're going to want to either schedule an appointment or provide a demo or just some sort of follow-up. Then you're going to want to schedule a call. Once you get that call, you have to determine if they're qualified or not. And in order to do that, the more information you have about the client, the better it's going to be to provide them the information that they're looking for. After that discovery call, then you can draft a proposal. And after you sent them a proposal, then you can have a follow-up email sequence. These email sequences could also be automated. And then once your deal is won or lost, then you can figure out what to do with that. Each one of these steps along the way, there's a potential for automation or adding AI to improve that process. We're going to look at the three that are outlined here. They're highlighted in yellow. First one is to identify the AI-ready steps, and in this case, the follow-up messages are highly repeatable. There's a low risk for messing it up, especially if it is in a templated format. The next step would be to create notes for your discovery call. The final one would be to create summaries and draft your proposal. All of these are highly repeatable. They're known inputs, they have low variability and minimal risk because at each step along the way, you're not truly giving all power to your automation or your AI. You do have that human review along the way. And with every AI implementation, no matter what you do, you should always keep human in the loop because AI can be good, but there are a lot of limitations. There can be hallucinations. They can make things up. Always review your AI output. So the first step along the way is going to be an adaptable prompt, especially when you're doing things consistently like follow-up emails. You want to create a template. This is something that if you have absolutely no automation and you're still using things off spreadsheets, just having reusable library of prompts is extremely helpful in the world of AI. So in this case, we're looking at a craft-based template. And when I mention craft-based, this goes back to some of the previous sessions that I've had. Craft is context, roles, audience, format, and tone. And so if you combine any of those pieces into a prompt, you're going to get a better output. And so in this case, your role is acting as a customer success specialist for the industry or niche that the client is interested in. Your format is going to be you're going to write a follow-up email based on the form, the goals, your tone. For this case, we're going to say we want to book a discovery call in a professional manner. And then you're giving some examples. This want to be a one-sentence acknowledgement that we got your request. And then give some value statements based on the niche that they specified. And then give a clear call to action based on your goal. And so in this case, we're going to give them a link to a calendar. Now we're going to limit it to 120 to 150 words. Again, this is very context specific. It defines a role. It's going to be consistent across anything. And with these replaceable parameters, you can customize it to pretty much any industry or any situation. And so in this case, I am going to be switching back and forth to ChatGPT. And for this particular situation, I need to move this little bar here. I have a sample lead data. This is a customer. His name is Marcus Rivera. He works for a company called RiverTech Consulting. It's in IT and cybersecurity, and he's the managing director. The background is the company has 12 specialized, it has small business cybersecurity audits and remediation. The goals, they want to improve response times. So there's a lot of information that they provided in this form. So the first thing is to take the templated form that we just created. And so in this situation, act as a customer success specialist for IT and cybersecurity. Write the short email, and then I'm providing the lead data that came from that form. And the goal is to book a discovery call in a friendly manner. I could do professional, but I'm making this one friendly. And then give it the guidelines. So quickly we can go through and the responding email. This could be automated, but basically we're saying, hey, Marcus, thanks for reaching out about our form name. Here's what we understand. You're in cybersecurity. You want these things and love to have a demo. Here's a discovery call. So here's a link for them. So you're automating that first step. The next step along the way is to say that, oh, great, I got this call with this guy in cybersecurity. I really don't know much more other than the little bit of information that he provided. And so here we're now going to be an assistant helping to prepare a 20-minute discovery call. So pasting in all of the notes that they had, we want to create a prep sheet that includes their background, what their goals are, what their questions to ask, how to guide this conversation, make it in bullet points so it's easy to follow. So suddenly, instead of going out and manually trying to do all this research, within a few seconds, we can go back into here. And now we're going to say, let's go to this core prompt. That will be part of the handout. And another templated prompt. So this is now we're acting as a senior business strategist, analyze the information based on that form. Same form information that was used for the email. Again, reusable components, known data. So we want to create a structured discovery call. Here's your snapshot. Here's the goals. Here's their problems. Here's some questions to ask them. So now suddenly I can generate this prompt, and it's coming through and it's saying, great, they're in cybersecurity. Here's the name of the firm. He's a managing director. Here's their basic background. It's going through and it's saying, okay, he said in the form they wanted these type of things, going through the pain points, the blockers, key questions to ask. So now when you're ready to start this call, you can start asking, hey, walk me through your discovery process. What information do you need to feel consistent is the quality? And so now your sales reps or yourself have the basic questions that you can ask. It's going to be consistent across every client, no matter what their industry, but this prompt is now allowing you to be much more well-informed before you start talking to them. And not only will you get questions to guide you along the way to this call, but it's going to give you some recommended next steps. So it's talking about various next steps. And then since this is in ChatGPT or whatever LLM that you're using, it's suggesting, do you want me to do anything else with this? So suddenly now you get a really nice response with the email from their initial form. They respond, they book your discovery call. You now have a qualified way to run the discovery call. Once you have that information, then you can go further on. And so here's now what you can do to even improve it further. As I mentioned in other webinars, the first thing to do is to come up with a consistent prompt and document it with replaceable parameters. The next step after that is to start looking to how you can turn this into an automated evolution from going from a prompt to a custom GPT, which is in ChatGPT, or create a custom application within the Deal.ai platform, which is one that I use. But any way that you can automate these prompts to make them even easier to use is just going to speed up time, because you've proven that it works in a prompt, and now you're just packaging it into a more usable form. So to build a custom GPT, if you've never gone into ChatGPT and looked at their generated pre-programmed transformer tools, which is a way to just automate a prompt, what you can do is paste the idea into the prompt builder, you add the input, save it as a name, and then you can consistently reuse this. So if you've never gone into GPTs, again, I'm in ChatGPT. I'm going to go to the GPT section of the menu bar and explore. Once you go into your exploration, you can go into My GPTs, which will show you all of the GPTs that I have created. But I want to create a new GPT. So you have two different options. The first thing is to just create, and you can put a prompt into the little box down at the bottom, or you can go into configure and actually manually add what you want this to do. But for ease of use, I'm going to copy and paste a prompt that I already have created. And so in this said, I'm going to be a discovery call preparation assistant designed to help consultants create scripts for your discovery calls. You're going to analyze the data, always follow through, give it what your outputs are going to be. And so now it's going to create basically an application based on this information. So right now it's going through, it's writing the GPT, it's actually creating some icons, great solid foundation. Next up is choosing a name. So since I didn't give it a name, here's a strong name. Let's just call it prep. Does that work? Use that. Now it has a name. Now it should be going through creating this little picture that is currently the box. Looks like there's a hiccup. I'm not sure why that's deciding not to create it, but I'm just going to say skip for now. And it's going to just not create the little icon. And it's saying, great, now let's fine tune it. How do you want me to approach? Should be more like an analytical researcher, strategic advisor, quick action assistant. Let's make this a strategic advisor. We'll put that in there. Great. Now, what should emphasize or avoid? Let's just say that avoid vague or overly optimistic statements. Great. And now let's do the analyst in a professional analyst. I'll paste that in there. Right. It's now ready to use. Let's preview it. So I'm going to go back through here and say, here's a new lead. So now we're going to test this. Create a prep sheet. I'm going to say, great. Here is my lead data that I'm copying. And paste that into this. Great. So now the GPT, all you have to do is launch this and enter in your client data. You don't have to worry about anything in the background. You just suddenly have a new report that is instantly run on how you want to run your new discovery call. Pretty straightforward. When you are ready to, still going through. You can see it's a little more in-depth than the actual prompt. It's giving your goals, it's creating your challenges, giving you different areas to explore. Recommended questions are a little more in-depth. They actually identify where you want to get your main points. Is it process? Is it clarifying the pain? So it just gives you a completely new strategy. And so now if I do a create, you can then say, do I want it to be only me, anyone with the link, or put it into the GPT store, which you can then monetize. So let's say anyone with the link as a default. We'll save this. So now you can give this link to anybody in your organization or anybody you want to be able to use this link. And if we go back to the GPTs and explore my GPTs, you'll see that this discovery call assistant is here. If anybody clicks on that, it's now just going to give them these prompt capabilities. So if you haven't used this option within ChatGPT to create your own little apps, I highly recommend experimenting with this. Really nice way to be able to reuse your prompts rather than creating libraries and remembering that you have to go into Google Docs and copy and paste and go back and forth. And now you just have a built-in library of pre-programmed prompts that you can just drop form data into. The next option is to look at Deal.ai. And Deal.ai is an interesting platform that is just a ton of AI tools. There's probably 75 different tools. It's completely overwhelming, but there are some really awesome content creation tools. And one of the content creation tools that they have is the ability to build apps. So if I go into my Deal, this is what I want to do. No, that's not what I want to do. Sorry. Go back to I have to find the right window. Sorry. Thought I had this. Just take one of these. Okay, so as I mentioned, Deal.ai is huge. If you go into their app store, they just have so many different apps. And the thing I liked about it is that it allows you to create custom applications. And so for me, everything from, don't really have it here, but I have my own Engage Craft section. And these are all tools that I've created for my own use. There's just a lot of them that I find useful. If we go into their app wizard, the app wizard allows you to create new AI applications. And so when you create an AI app, there's a few different things that you can do. First is you can use the standard format, which you define everything, what you want to do, give it a description, upload a logo, what kind of inputs you want. Is it text, URLs, toggles, descriptions, downloads, file uploads? So I'm not going to use the file upload, but I'm going to use a copy and paste mode. And if you use file upload, this is an even easier way to say, just import my lead information. So I'm going to use the AI enhanced version, and I'm going to do pretty much the same type of thing. I'm going to call this a discovery app, and I'm going to use very similar to what I put into the ChatGPT idea, is expand that down a little bit. So it's going to ask for your input forms. So here's the lead. Now again, I could have said, make this a file upload, but here it's going to ask for your lead name, the industry, company, roles, what their goals are, everything that was in your form. Then here's what you want the outputs to be. The nice thing about Deal.ai is that you can create knowledge bases, and knowledge bases are collections of documents that have whatever you have. If you've written books, if you've documented processes, frameworks, procedures. I'm not going to use one, but I have a lot of different knowledge bases that I've created. Some are based on my personal information, some are based on marketing, some is based on franchising, roofing. You know, there's all sorts of different things that I've put together knowledge bases for, but I'm just going to use this basic one and have it go through and create this app. The apps can take a few minutes to build, but pretty much it's a little bit more time consuming than creating a GPT. However, they're still very useful. And while this is building, I can show you some of the other tools just because. Let's just duplicate this tab while it's building. As I said, there are a lot of tools. My favorites are the hyper realistic images. These are just some generative images that I've created on prompts. I've rated each of them. I delete a bunch of them, but you can choose your different ratios if you want to get art, if you want to come up with ideas. That's one of their tools. Another one of my favorite tools is the AI spokesperson. AI spokesperson allows you to take a single image, add a script, and create videos. So for example, here's me. Imagine taking a single image like this anime version of me, I'm Chuck Boyce, and turning it into a full video spokesperson. So that's just a way that you can create quick videos for whatever you want to do. Let's go back here and see if it's still building. Other than that, one of the great features of Deal is that you have the ability to white label it. And when you white label it, you can customize it to your own needs and create your own custom apps. And you can either use them for your own sake, or you can sell them to your clients or provide them to your clients for an upsell. That's where the creating your knowledge bases based on your information and then creating these custom applications comes in play. It should almost be ready. So anyway, if you are interested in building an AI platform based on your business, I recommend Deal.ai, and that's one of the things that I help do, is to help customize and build these white label processes. When you look at the white labels, you have how you want to customize it, what your name is, what your URLs are going to be, what apps you want to include, create different roles, which you can then assign different value to and sell them. Once you get into your monetization, you can price each individual app, you can resell it, you can create affiliates, you can sell it for different prices. So you have a lot of varied options for customizing, monetizing, automating, and then getting data on that. In the meantime, let's go back to the app wizard, and it is still working. Let's go into viewing. So here is the app that we just created. It's going to go through and ask for all of the information from that form. So if I do some more cutting and pasting here, let's see. Lead data. I don't have that right now, so in the sake of saving time, I think I actually had a version that I created before, using the same process. Here is one with the inputs that I had put in. So the Marcus Riviera, all of the information that came from the form, and it is creating a lead prep sheet. Again, basically the same information, gives you the conversations during the call and what your recommended next steps are going to be. So again, different way of doing it versus a GPT. It's a custom app. The app can be reused in different ways. So that is how you can automate and further improve your processes once you understand what they are. And so now for you or anyone watching this, here's a 5-minute exercise, is to map out your system, find your triggers, inputs, the steps involved in the process, where your decision points are, and what your output is going to be. Find your bottleneck. Where is your workflow slow? Is there a roadblock? Is there a time consumer? That is where you want to start in figuring out how you can improve things. So, is it repetitive? Can you do the same thing every time? Once you have all that defined, then you have your first AI opportunity. So out of this, showing you how to map in real time, giving you a few different prompts to use, giving you the idea to build workflows and different options for making it repeatable, whether you're using a template, a GPT, or a custom application. Any of them allow you to just make things faster, better. So out of this, I do have the resources available, which will be included in a download that you can, it's a Google Drive link that you will be getting. In that, there's going to be a template that you can do fill in the blank to apply to any workflow that you have, and then give you a scoring sheet. And let's actually go through there and I'll show you these. Go to Drive. System app template, very simple document. You give it a workflow name, who owns it, what's the purpose, what are your triggers, what are your inputs, what are your steps, what are the decision points, the handoffs, the outputs, where are your friction points. So this allows you to start documenting every one of the processes that you may want to implement or improve. Once you have that, you can go into a scoring sheet. The impact is, what's the importance? Give it a level. The manual effort, the pattern repeatability, the automation potential, the cost of errors, and the time of value. That's your impact. You can score things of where you may find the best value in what you want to have automated. So along with the presentation and the prompts and those two worksheets, that's the value that you're getting out of this. I hope it's helpful. Today you can map this using it, test it out against your own processes, do one or two prompts that we may cover, see if it works for you, find some more scenarios, and start analyzing your business and figure out where AI may or may not fit within your environment. The one thing that I didn't really cover is looking at your return on investment, and is the cost of the application that you're using worth what you're paying for it. So for example, if something like this, replying back to an email and doing the research, say that you have an assistant that is being paid at $25 an hour, and that work takes them 3 hours to do. So that's $75 for every task that it's costing you. If you then say, I now have an AI prompt tool that I'm using that is costing me $20 a month, this task is costing me $75 every time I do it. How many times am I doing it a month? Say even 2 or 3 times. There's $400, and the tool is $20. Very easy to see your return on investment. And so if you know what the steps are and you associate a person and the value of their time, you can easily start to say that, yes, this tool is going to cost me $20, but I'm saving $300 every month. And so it's easy to see your return on investment. And outside of that, that is what I have to offer today. I'm going to stop the share.